Folks, we bike here on WLTH 1370 AM. That's 92.7 in the FM dial. I love the Meters. What a great band. Great band. I was shocked to find out they're not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Like, that is one of the best American bands of all time in any genre. Zigaboo, one of the great drummers of all time. Always happy to shine a spotlight on somebody like that who just goes under the radar so much of the time and whose music is just in so much of everything we listen to today. It's just, it's an honor and a privilege. We are back here on Straight Out of the Cannon. It is 7:38 in the PM here on Friday, January the 3rd. First month, third day, 2025, 7:38 p.m. on a Friday. That means I got about 22 minutes before I got to get out of here before Dr. Williams comes in with the 2x4 like Hacksaw Jim Duggan and removes me personally, and we don't want that. So let's just get to it, folks. The number is 219-885-1371. The number again, 219-885-1371. We talked about what went on in New Orleans. We talked about Jimmy Carter. History's greatest monster, Jimmy Carter. That's a joke from The Simpsons. We talked about, CEOs. Homelessness and CEO pay simultaneously going up to record numbers. Sort of adjacent to that last story about the CEOs making record pay, the richest man in history, Elon Musk, whose net worth is close to $500 billion at this point, who bought his way into an administration. You want to talk about how that level of wealth is bad for society? That's why. Because Elon Musk can literally buy the president of the United States, which he just basically did. Y'all complain about small C corruption in this little town or in Lake County. Elon Musk just became one of the most powerful human beings who ever lived. He's literally got technically the most powerful man in the world coming up here in a few weeks on a string. That is why billionaires it is undemocratic. You cannot have a democratic society. You cannot have a free society and have billionaires who have that much wealth in it. They inherently buy influence. That's inherently what they do. And now we're in a situation where even the people who supported Elon are turning on him. A lot of the MAGA rank and file. And now Elon Musk is vowing to go to war with MAGA Republicans to defend H-1B visas. The H-1B visa program, should I say, which allows highly skilled foreigners to work in the United States for 6 years rather than prioritizing employees. Now, Musk seems to be going even further by revoking privileges from ex-users who disagree with his views, according to several prominent conservative accounts. Now do you see why having billionaires in your society who control the media and control your government is a bad idea? Twitter is the public forum. If billionaires control your media and they control your social media, then what type of voice do you have in a democracy as a non-billionaire? Not much of one at all. Several prominent conservative accounts have complained that their blue verification badge on X has been revoked, cutting them off from features including the ability to monetize their content. One account called Conservative OG claimed more than 50 users had been affected by the apparent censorship by Elon Musk, who prides himself on promoting free speech. Free speech for me, but not for thee. Okay? This is what you get. So many of these people laughed and were happy when Elon Musk was silencing people for being against the, genocide in Gaza or for other things that they agreed with. But now they are upset because he's deplatforming them as well. Well, what did you think was going to happen? This is why you can't allow your society to be in the hands of, moody and, turbulent billionaires. This is why you don't allow that to happen. Now, President Donald Trump's longtime supporters have increasingly pushed for the H-1B visa to be scrapped amid a heated debate over immigration and the place of skilled immigrants and foreign workers and brought into the U.S. on work visas. But his most recently acquired backers from the tech industry seemingly supported the program, including Musk, who is a naturalized U.S. citizen born in South Africa and previously held a H-1B visa. His electric car company, Tesla, also obtained 724 H-1B visas this year. So basically, Elon Musk and other tech companies are using these visas to have a permanent flow of cheap workers. A permanent flow of cheap workers from India or China or whatever, who they can always hold their precarious citizenship status over their heads if they ever demand, labor rights or more money. They can say, well, you can go back to China, ping pong, or you can beat it back to India, Sanjay. Conservative pundit Laura Loomer also weighed in, who is very close to President Trump. She said, why are ex-users who pay for premium having their posts listed as probable spam on my post, Elon Musk? This is censorship. I understand you don't like me, but this is nothing but retaliatory censorship. The accounts were still active, but some conservatives said that the move was a betrayal of Musk's pledges to make X a free speech haven for when he brought the app, which was called Twitter, in 2022. So a billionaire, somebody who got rich literally by exploiting his workers, lied to you. Shocking. Musk, who immigrated to the U.S. from South Africa and became a citizen in 2002, did not respond to requests for comment, but he posted about the X algorithm on Thursday night. Preston Potter, the influencer who runs the conservative OG account, accused Musk of staging a political takedown in retaliation for publicly disagreeing with his views on visas and immigration. He said, if anyone thinks for one minute that the real backbone of the right wing and MAGA is going to stand idly by while these big tech gazillionaire Silicon Valley dweebs who didn't get bullied enough in high school steal our country, they are mistaken. Parra says he believes that Musk is a Trojan horse in Donald Trump's camp. Several accounts have also referred to Musk as the monarch, suggesting that he has absolute control over the website. Of course he does. Duh. Again, this is what happens when you are relying on the feelings of billionaires to determine whether or not you have free speech and what's supposed to be a free society or not. This is what you get. This is what happens. This is why this was always a bad idea. And don't get me wrong, it's not just the Republicans either. Bill Gates gave Kamala Harris $50 million. George Soros, the liberal financier, bought 200 radio stations right before the election. I covered both of those stories here right before the election to try to help Kamala Harris. Now, it didn't work, but hey, it is what it is. This is why it is undemocratic to have people this wealthy in our society. Our media is literally controlled by these people, and now social media. Social media was supposed to be a workaround to the mainstream media. Social media was supposed to be someplace we could go to escape the tyranny of regular media that was owned by billionaires. Now billionaire Elon Musk owns Twitter, billionaire Mark Zuckerberg owns Facebook, and they both reserve the right to censor any speech that they don't agree with that hurts their little bitty feelings. This is why it is undemocratic to have people this wealthy in your society and allow them to own your media, to allow them to own your social media platforms. Now, in the past, Donald Trump used to criticize the H-1B visas, calling them very bad and unfair for workers. But last week, all of a sudden, he praised the use of visas. Now that he's getting all this money from Elon Musk and the billionaire tech bros, he completely reversed course and said, I always liked the visas. I've always been in favor of the visas. That's why we have them. See? And again, MAGA has no one to blame but themselves for trusting billionaires. This is why you don't trust billionaires. To give you the freedom that is supposed to be guaranteed to you by the United States Constitution. This is why you don't trust these people. Now, during his first term as president, Trump unveiled a Hire American policy that directed changes to the program to try to ensure that visas were awarded to the highest paid or most skilled applicants. Despite his criticisms of them and attempts to curb their use, he also used the visas at his businesses because he's a dishonest, disingenuous billionaire as well. I have many H-1B visas on my property. I've always been a believer in H-1B visas. I've used it many times. It's a great program. But this is how we get to this place. And on Christmas, we saw Vivek Ramaswamy literally write a screed about how Americans have a bad culture because people watch Friends and Boy Meets World instead of doing Math Olympics, and saying that Americans' culture won't allow them to compete with India. Will somebody please tell Vivek Ramaswamy that in India they have signs having to remind people to not defecate in the streets and on beaches? That people literally wash themselves in the Ganges River that is full of pollution and crap from animals. And he's talking about our culture? But again, this is what you get. Nobody had a problem with Elon Musk. None of these people had a problem with Vivek Ramaswamy, as long as they was dumping on black people. As long as they were saying, oh, affirmative action is bad and DEI is bad, because black people are the face of those programs, even though they benefit white women the most, but still black people are the faces of those programs. And immigrants, and the black people who do benefit from them are usually immigrants. So they don't usually help most of us. But they had no problem with Vivek and Elon and their talk about how foreign workers are superior when it was talking about black people. But as soon as they started coming for Friends and Boy Meets World and all these white shows and all these white community hallmarks, then all of a sudden it's a problem. And this has always been a big problem with white America in this country. So many times they have thought that they were kicking us in our behinds. They were doing things that were only going to make us look bad, that were only going to do wrong by us, that was going to put us in our place. Only to have that boomerang and kick them in the behinds. And here we are once again. And now you have Steve Bannon, who was Trump's advisor in the first administration, talking about how there needs to be quotas for people born in America and how we need to invest in black America and black Americans in order to save the country. Well, we've been saying that forever. We've been saying that forever. You said we just wanted a handout. You said we needed to pull up our pants and get off the welfare. But now, white people are feeling the heat. From the billionaire elites who are telling them, we're going to bring in millions of people from India and China and, you know, all these other countries who are happy to work for much lower wages, and you just going to have to deal. You just going to have to learn how to deal with it. They are freaking out. And Vivek Ramaswamy in particular is just one of the most smarmy, you know, incredulous people you will ever meet. How did he make his money? He made his money by starting an 8-person company. 3 of the employees were his mother, his brother, and himself. They launched an IPO for an Alzheimer's disease drug that had already failed in studies. They made billions, got out, and the company tanked. So he pushed a drug that he knew would not work, made millions off of it, and then let the investors hold the bag. How is this man not in jail? And he's got the nerve to want to lecture Americans. He's got the nerve to want to lecture black people about our culture, Americans about our culture. But again, this is what you get when you get in the bed like with people like Donald Trump, with Vivek Ramaswamy, with Elon Musk. This is exactly what you're asking for. This is who billionaires are. This is what they do. Most of them are sociopaths who are no smarter than most people, who are no better than most people, and definitely not more honest than most people. We know Donald Trump thought Frederick Douglass was still alive. He's smarter than everybody else? Really? Come on. Okay, folks, off the soapbox.